Realm of the Mad God. Where do I even begin? This game was created by a company called Wild Shadow in 2010. Wild Shadow wanted to create a game that was so unique that people would have to play it if they ever wanted to experience anything like it before, with the graphics and the type of gameplay. So, in order to do this, they created this game. It would be a massive multiplayer online role-playing game where you can play with many people from all around the world. It would be a dungeon crawler, so you have to go into different dungeons and get different loots for your characters. And it would also be a bullet hell, which means that any time on the screen you have to dodge pretty much everything. Now, the one thing that sets this game apart from any other game is it is a permadeath game. What that means is if your character ever hits 0 health points, you will die, and you will lose everything that was on that character, and there is no way to get it back. This keeps a lot of people from playing the game because they put hours into it, and then they can lose it in just a second. Now, the one thing that keeps people playing the game is the amazing loot that we can find. Loot comes in loot bags. Each bag symbolizes the different kind of loot that it can have, but the one bag you want to find the most often is the white bag. The white bag is incredibly rare, but it has the most powerful weapons, rings, abilities, and armors in the entire game. Once you have these weapons, you want to hang on to them for as long as possible because getting them back after losing them is very, very difficult. Wild Shadow originally introduced 12 different classes that you could play as, but as different companies took over, including the current owner, Deca Games, they've added now 17 classes. We will now go over each class and why they're unique. Let's get started with the Archer. The Archer uses a bow and his quiver to take out the enemies around him. His quiver, when upgraded, can paralyze enemies in place to make it easier to shoot. The Warrior uses a sword and his helmet to deal damage to the enemy. His helmet gives him Berserk, which makes his attack speeds faster and makes him run faster. He is a very powerful damage dealer. The Paladin uses a sword and a seal to deal damage to the enemy. His seal will let players around him heal themselves and make their attacks hit a little bit harder. The Assassin is my personal favorite of the classes. He uses a dagger and his poison to do a lot of damage to a big group of enemies at a single time. The Necromancer uses a staff and a skull to help him do damage. His skull will deal a little bit of damage, but heal him for all the damage that was taken by the enemy. The Huntress is an interesting class. She uses a bow and a trap that will slow enemies down and deal damage to enemies that fall into the trap. The Mystic is an interesting class. She uses her staff and her orb to prevent people from dying by stasising the enemy and making it so they cannot attack or move or be attacked for the next couple of seconds. Next up is the Trickster. She uses her dagger and prism to get around the battlefield as fast as possible. She can teleport using her prism to wherever the cursor is placed onto the map. When she teleports, she leaves behind a decoy that distracts the enemies around her. The Sorcerer uses a wand and a scepter to deal lightning damage to the enemies around it. His scepter shoots out a bolt of lightning that then jumps from enemy to enemy. The Ninja is the first class on our list that uses a katana, and he also uses a ninja star. The ninja star, if you hold the key down, lets him run really fast with the speedy buff, and as soon as you let go of the button, he shoots out a star that deals damage to enemies. The samurai is also a katana user, and he uses the wakizashi when, if hit, will expose your enemy's weak points and cause everyone around you to do a little bit more damage. The bard uses his bow and his lute to inspire his allies and make them shoot further than they normally would. He is very good in big groups of people. At the time of recording, the Summoner is the newest class to enter Realm of the Mad God. She uses a wand and a mace that can summon animals to help her deal damage to her enemies. The higher upgraded the mace, the stronger the animals will become. The knight has very high defense, so he's hard to kill, and with that, he needs to get in close with his sword and his shield to stun his enemies and cause them to not shoot for a certain amount of time. If your only goal is surviving, then the priest is for you. He uses his wand and his tome to stay out of danger, and when he is in danger, he can heal himself instantaneously using his tome. Opposite the priest, if your only goal is dealing damage, then the wizard is your person. The wizard uses his staff and his spell to do a ton of damage to enemies, but he is very squishy and easy to kill. Last but not least, we've got the rogue. The rogue is a dagger class, and he uses his cloak to turn invisible so that the enemies can't see him, and he can get in and get out without being noticed. Each class is good at different things, and I think that's the beauty of Realm of the Mad God. But why are there so many classes, and what is our main goal in this game? Well, first off, we have Oryx the Mad God. He is the main antagonist of the game, and he created this realm and filled it with monsters with the only purpose is to kill our adventurers. Oryx has some of the best loot in the game, and if you manage to kill him, you can take it from him. Watch me do that now.